Tonight, our special coverage on Israel's war on Palestine as a CNN journalist defies Israeli ban to enter Gaza. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Zahra Sayed. Today is the 69th day since Israel started bombing Palestinians indiscriminately. Israel has concluded a 60-hour raid in the West Bank, resulting in the death of at least 12 Palestinians. On the other hand, in Gaza, heavy fighting has been reported in Khan Yunis between Israeli soldiers and Hamas fighters. The death toll resulting from an Israeli attack near a United Nations Relief and Works Agency school in Khan Yunis has risen to 33. In the midst of an intensified Israeli attack in Khan Yunis, 2 Al Jazeera journalists have been wounded. The Committee to Protect Journalists says since the onset of the war, 56 Palestinian, 4 Israeli, and 3 Lebanese journalists and media workers have lost their lives. 11 journalists are injured, 3 missing, and 19 have been arrested. Reports have surfaced of a photojournalist severely beaten by an Israeli soldier in occupied East Jerusalem following the denial of entry to Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Deputy General Secretary at the International Federation of Journalists says the journalists in Gaza are facing extraordinary challenges. He says journalists should be protected under international law. Reports are surfacing that Israel has agreed to allow humanitarian aid to pass through the Garam Abu Salim crossing at Israel's and Gaza's border. The death toll amongst Palestinians has surged to 18,787. On the other hand, Israel's revised death toll stands at 1,147. Israel's military has announced an attack in the border area between Gaza and Egypt. It has also dropped warning leaflets cautioning residents in southern Lebanon against aiding Hezbollah militants. Cross-border exchanges of fire between Israel and Hezbollah have been a daily occurrence since Israel started its war. During a meeting with the U.S. National Security Advisor Jack Sullivan, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has emphasized that all Gaza crossings should open for the delivery of essential aid. He is calling on the United States to intervene and pressure Israel to stop its violence in the occupied West Bank. Abbas says a two-state solution is integral to lasting peace. He says Palestine comprises the West Bank, including occupied East Jerusalem and Gaza. The news comes after Sullivan's visit to Israel. During his visit, Sullivan said Israel should shift its focus towards precise targeting of Hamas leaders. He said Israel should not resort to widespread bombing and ground operations. A call from over a dozen countries and the European Union has urged Israel to take immediate action to address settler violence in the occupied West Bank. The United Nations has denounced the desecration of religious sites, emphasizing the need for their respect. The condemnation follows the circulation of a video on social media by Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. In the video, Israeli soldiers can be seen performing Jewish rituals within a mosque in Jenin in the West Bank. A United Nations spokesperson, Stefan Dujarric, says desecration of religious sites should not be tolerated. For the first time since its formation, Israel is facing legal challenges from 2 international courts. The International Court of Justice is set to deliver its legal opinion on Israel's occupation of Palestinian land in the West Bank and East Jerusalem next year in February. On the other hand, the International Criminal Court has initiated a criminal investigation into Israel's actions in the Palestinian territory. Although the International Court of Justice cannot enforce its rulings, experts are viewing the move as a significant milestone for Palestinian independence. The International Criminal Court's jurisdiction over Israel is complicated, as Israel is not a member state. On the contrary, Palestine has been a member of the International Criminal Court since 2015. The Prosecutor General of the International Criminal Court has recently visited Israel and the West Bank. His visit is being viewed as a signal to investigate potential war crimes committed by Israel in Palestine. Israel also faces legal scrutiny over the killing of Al Jazeera reporter Shireen Abu Akleh. She was targeted last year by an Israeli sniper while wearing a blue vest with press written on it. Experts say holding Israel accountable may be difficult. However, its legal troubles are unprecedented. CNN's chief international correspondent Clarissa has become the first Western journalist to enter the Gaza Strip without supervision from the Israel Defense Forces. She has offered a first-hand account of what she calls absolute horror. Since the onset of the war, Israel has permitted only a handful of journalists to enter under military supervision. Ward crossed the border Wednesday, accompanied by medical volunteers to visit a field hospital. During a CNN appearance, Ward provided insights about the impactful hours spent on the ground. She says in the brief window, she got a sense of absolute horrors taking place in Gaza. She says the scale of damage is far greater than before. Due to the access ban, international reporters have been reliant on updates from Palestinian journalists, aid and health workers, and social media. The Israeli military has been cutting off communication, making it harder to obtain timely updates. In the initial stages of the conflict, Ward faced accusations of fabricating a video depicting her seeking shelter from bombs during live coverage near the Israel-Gaza border. CNN vehemently refutes these claims and has affirmed the video's authenticity. The Canadian government's decision to support the United Nations resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza has sparked mixed reactions from Liberal MPs. Some believe it can bring peace, while others view it as Canada abandoning Israel during its war on Palestine. The resolution demands an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. It does not explicitly mention Hamas, and some MPs find this problematic. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly defends the vote. She says there is a need to end the cycle of violence and address the humanitarian crisis. Canada has also issued a joint statement with Australia and New Zealand, calling Israel to respect international law. The statement condemns Hamas's actions on October 7th. Liberal MP Ben Carr, a Jewish caucus member from Winnipeg, calls the joint statement fair as it includes remarks about Hamas. Liberal MP Anthony Housefather, however, says Canada should have maintained its traditional stance in support of Israel. Liberal MP Salma Zahid, who is Muslim representing a Toronto area riding, says she is grateful for Canada's vote. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister is engaged in diplomatic discussions with Israel, the Palestinian Authority, and other countries to achieve lasting peace in the Middle East. She has recently responded to questions from media outlets regarding the government's change in stance related to Israel's war on Palestine. The minister says Canada's stance comes after the end of a humanitarian pause. Joly says there have been thousands of deaths in Gaza since the onset of the war. She says to avoid further death and destruction, a ceasefire is very important. Joly also says Hamas should release captives as a step towards peace. She, however, evaded replying when media outlets said if the change in stance was linked to fear of losing Muslim support and donors in Canada. Recently, a group representing influential Canadian Muslim donors has withdrawn its support from the Liberal Party of Canada for not calling for a ceasefire. 8 individuals are being tried in a United Kingdom court for charges related to their direct actions against Elbit Systems, Israel's largest weapons manufacturer. The individuals are being referred to as the Elbit Eight. The trial began on November 13th. It features 2 founders of Palestine Action amongst the defendants. Palestine Action is a pro-Palestinian protest network that uses direct action tactics to shut down Israeli arms dealers, particularly in the United Kingdom. The individuals are accused of disrupting Elbit Systems' operations. They have been protesting inside its offices using red paint to represent Palestinian blood. Elbit Systems is known for marketing its drones and weapons as battle-tested, often on civilians in Gaza before mass production. The company supplies up to 85% of the Israeli military's drones and land-based equipment. Some of these weapons are being produced in the United Kingdom. The defendants argue that their actions are motivated by a moral and legal obligation to prevent the genocide of the Palestinian people. They claim that traditional forms of activism, like writing to MPs, have failed to bring about change. The protests have cost Elbit over $356 million in lost contracts. It has led to the closing of 2 weapon factories and prompting key associates to sever ties with the company. This trial has gained international attention, activists across the globe taking direct action to halt weapon supplies to Israel, inspired by the efforts of Palestine Action in the United Kingdom. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad. Assalamu alaikum.